I'm very excited for the first Cape to Kili trip. I think Cape Town is one of my favorite cities in the world. Anyone who has lived here or has even just come to visit, I think will appreciate what a charming town it is.
I think it's going to take us more into the heart of Africa, the less developed part, the wild part of Africa. We're going to see a lot more animals and, just more open space. And so I think the significance is that we might enjoy it more, might really get into the tour more and really feel like, this is the heart of Africa.
I guess just getting into the swing of things. I think the first 2 days are always making sure your body's working and your bike is working. It takes the first week for you to understand the systems and make sure your body's happy, your bike is happy, your digestion's happy. Everything is in good working order, but it feels like in pretty good shape. I love the 2 days of gravel that we've had. The third day of gravel was just spectacular. Just beautiful country, and even though I think people might have felt it was very rough, it was beautiful gravel for me.
I think we took the coolest route we could have taken, in my opinion. Not to say there's anything against the South African coastline, but I don't think I realized how amazing the mountains and kind of the interior was of South Africa, and how much protected space there was.
So it was a tough start, but a beautiful start. Baines Clove was amazing coming up there, and then just riding on the wilderness area. It was on the dirt road, but manageable. So, and then of course it helps that everybody is helping in with the lunch and the evening dinner, so we don't just have to cycle.
I think in this area, okay, in South Africa, this area is known for the flowers, the Namakwaland flowers. I don't know if it's got an international following, but locals, like all the campsites here are full of local people. But they're very nice, man. And tomorrow we'll sort of start moving out, but we're really lucky that we got this day at least, with the nicest flowers. Yesterday there were a bunch of flowers, and the day before, but today has just been magic. Yeah.
We love South Africa. South Africa is people are very friendly. When you cycle around, everybody's cheering you on or saying hello, and you can have an easy conversation. And then the nature is amazing, and so
and also very diverse.
Yeah, very diverse.
That's so also what I noticed now in the trip.
Here,
now we have flower season here.
Yeah.
So, but also the mountains are different, and the seaside is totally different.
So it's diverse in nature. Yeah.
No, I guess I thought South Africa would be up and down. I'm kind of expecting, I may be completely mistaken, but Namibia to be flat. But we'll see. I might be surprised there.
Namibia is tough. It has its own reward, kind of immediately, as in the landscapes are unlike anywhere I've ever been, at least. Just between the sand dunes and then like mountains that come directly out of the sand, it almost reminds me of the way that glaciers poke out of an ice field, but with sand and then super rocky mountains, which I think is pretty unique to the Namibian landscape. But the cycling is really tough. It's, you know, almost been entirely gravel.
The whole remoteness of this part of Namibia, and just to be able to go for tens of kilometers or without seeing hardly any vehicles and hardly any people. It's so vast.
You know, if we took the main paved road through Namibia, you'd miss like world-class sites. Like we were just in a really important dune site, and Duffel, which is a really unique dune area with a dry riverbed that has these trees that have totally dried up on the spot and have just stayed up in place, and so really just stark kind of landscape. Yeah, and if we just took the paved road all the way from Namibia to the Botswana border, yeah, you'd miss so much of that kind of wide open landscape that makes Namibia really unique.
I think when you look at it in hindsight, like today was a hard day riding, and at the time when you're doing it, you're thinking, man, this is hard, but when you're finished, you look back on it and say, you know, it was a really good experience.
Well, there's a lot of wildlife, one of them being elephants.
The thing about this riding in Botswana, particularly on the elephant highway, so far we've had Namibia. It's clearly a physical challenge, no question. But I think this is a mental challenge because there's not a lot, there's no stops. There's not a lot to look at until you suddenly see something like an elephant or some other animal. Otherwise, you're just pedaling along, and it is a little bit challenging in that regard. Mentally, it's challenging, but all that pales when you suddenly come across either some kind of wildlife or other, and you stop and just marvel at it and get going.
I think it's 100% what's keeping people motivated. They've been battling pretty nasty headwinds, and it's like the carrot at the end of every day is like how much beautiful wildlife you get to see, and these really unique experiences with an elephant or a giraffe where you'll be cycling and then end up right beside one, and you don't get to be that close to most wildlife at any point in time.
Well, this has been definitely my favorite part of the tour, and I think for many people as well. We've come out of sort of more nature reserves and more into like a cultural experience. There've been lots of little villages and lots of coke stops. So the ride itself is a lot easier because every 30, 40 kilometers there's a little village where you can stop and buy an ice cold drink and sort of meet some local people and see how the people live.
We went to the market and it is just incredible piles of anything you could want, just in this sort of almost Dickensian market. All the colours of the people, and you can eat locusts if you want to, or mice if you want to. And then that goes hand in hand with Arsenal tops and mobile phone covers.
I knew Zambia was a poor country, and despite all of that, I get waved at, not rocks thrown at me, and you see kids going to school, and that's great, but I really do believe a lot more people should see this kind of thing. I've certainly been through other cultures, poor and wealthy, whether it's Southeast Asia or wherever else you might care to name. But that part of it, again, hasn't been shocking, but it's part of why I like to do trips like this, is because it's a really good reminder of it is pure luck that I was born where and to the people that I was born to.
Coming down the mountains to Lake Malawi, and you see the vista as you spend an hour or so going up a hill, and you come back down the hill, but you see Lake Malawi open up. And you see the fishermen going out in their boats and coming back, and all the fish laid out on the beaches on tables to dry it out. It's just a different way of life, just fantastic.
Malawi is it's just known for kind, friendly people. It's a lot greener than the previous stretches, and we get to go through some not very touristy places.
But Malawi is just so beautiful. We were all speaking going up through the hills yesterday, and it reminded me of Tuscany. And I said, this is like Tuscany or northern Spain, except you get banana trees. And everyone agreed. They said, yeah, it really does. It's a really similar landscape, and just the rolling hills. And then obviously you have all the Africanness of it as well. But it is just the most beautiful rolling hills, and probably my favourite cycling since we were in Namibia in the desert, because you don't get the flat roads of Botswana or Zambia. You do get the rolling mountains, which just really give you an interest.
There's definitely a self-selecting bunch. The kind of people that are willing to take this on in the first instance are a small minority of the population at large.
A good collection of people from like North America, Canada, US, Europe, Germany, Netherlands, the UK, some people from New Zealand, I think some folks from Australia as well, so it's a good mix. So they seem to mesh together well.
I'm generally not as much of a camper, and so part of what appealed to me about this was the whole expedition nature of it. It's that they're going places that you wouldn't ordinarily go. This is not just going from lodge to lodge, hotel to hotel, and that appeals to me. It's a little outside of my comfort zone, and so I wanted to try it and see, whether I could do it and what it might be like. But I have not done a lot of it.
One thing we find out, I think, on this trip is simple life is it's really nice. I mean, we don't have internet, or all we do is have this small tent and a duffel bag, and we live in it for 2 months. It's like, wow, you kind of realize what you need.
And it has been a sort of highlight, a memorable part of the tour always. Just camping at the schools and all the bush camps. I think as an idea, people are like a bush camper, you're sleeping outside. But after like 2-3 bush camps, everyone is in the rhythm. A lady comes over and sells drinks for everyone. You just get so used to it and people get to spend time in a town or in a hotel. People sort of disappear, but then the group all stay together and hang out after dinner. So it's one of the best parts of the tour.
One of the most wonderful things I've done for years was camping at the school, where we're doing wild camping in a school playground, and one of the ladies, Debs, the geography teacher, she got all the kids together. There were about 100 kids, and she got 5 or 6 of us, and we just went with the kids, and we got them doing the hokey cokey, and it was just wonderful. The joy and the laughter on the kids' faces was just such a fantastic thing to see, and it just transferred to us. It made what wild camping, which is not too comfortable, it just made it one of the best nights of the holiday. Just absolutely brilliant when you mix it with the kids.
Yeah, it's a little like when you're in a I don't want to say Americanized, but or like a European or first world modern country, you kind of can just show up and typically find your way around. Whereas here, there's a lack of familiarity. So, had I been more familiar with Africa, I might consider doing some of it on my own, at least some countries. But here, I'm out of my element, and so it's super nice.
Because every bit of the tour offers something different. So Namibia, the desert, I think it's one of the most beautiful landscapes I've ever been to. Botswana, the animals. Here again, the scenery and the people are just wonderful. But I can't say it's my favourite, not because it's not up there, but because I can't just take one over another. There's so many beautiful places we've been to.
You get an idea what Africa's a lot like, but really you don't have a real idea until you actually come and experience it. There's so many aspects to it that are different from what you learn about or read about. That's the kind of thing that TDA offers that you really can't get in an organized safari. And there's so much opportunity to see so many different things.
It's another thing that happens when you go in and you talk to the shopkeepers. I've had a couple of them that have really thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming to Malawi. Don't forget us when you go home. Have a free, so these are the fourth poorest nation in the world. Have a free Coke, have a free something, because they're just so, just so pleased that you're there. And I found that actually with a few of the countries, they thank you for coming to Africa and their country. And again, because at home, we're not sure about Africa, we don't really know it. We sometimes think of it negatively, and it's just such a fantastic place to come to.